All right, everyone, on today's episode of Nothing Major, we are finally going to put a bow on the clay court season. Roland Garros was an epic final and an epic tournament, and we are going to dip into some mailbag questions for Roland Garros and possibly one of the funniest locker room stories you will ever hear about. And then we turn to the grass season. How did we get ready? How did we move on? Where did we play? And does Sam know when his anniversary is? Looking forward to all that coming up on Nothing Major.
Welcome back to Nothing Major. John Isner here. Got the whole team in tow. Jack Sock, Steve Johnson, Sam Querrey, and of course, Charlie Fox. And Sift Creative, the four-man group, is back. We had a lot of fun doing Something Major. Once again, I think we did okay on it, and we're going to continue to do so. Again, Roland Garros is over. Sam, I want to start with you really quick. Obviously, everyone saw you and was raving about how well you did on TNT. You're just a TV star, basically. The other day, a couple days ago on Something Major, you were talking about the rap party that you had to get down to. How was that? And how was your trip home? Also, how haggard are you right now? You don't look it. You don't look it.
Trip home wasn't that bad. I mean, look, TNT's pretty nice. Got to fly first class. Flight was delayed in New York, but like all in all, can't complain when I've got the first class treatment. All in all, the experience was amazing. It was 15 days, a lot of time on the desk. Basically there 10 to midnight every day, and we'd hit like a pre-show, a post-show, segments in between. It's really fun. I appreciate the compliment. It was good, tricky. I will say this, the hardest part was like if I was on the desk with like Agassi and John McEnroe, it was hard for me if they said something sometimes, like for me, because of who they are and like being Hall of Famers, for me to like chime in and be like, Andre, what are you talking about? You know,
yeah, that's when you got to jump
on
in.
The desk, I was jumping in, but
jump in and tell them that their tactics are wrong. You know, tell them like, look, your tennis knowledge isn't that good. You know, you never won this tournament. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, so it was hard to like jump in and poke fun, which naturally, like that's what I want to do. And you feel a little insecure on the desk with those guys, but like all in all, it went good. You are, you get a little tired toward the end, just being there for so long. And I felt like it went well. I mean, look, when you're on like that much, like everything you say gets dissected, and you feel like you have mistakes every day. But that's part of it, and it was fun. The rap party was great. The rap party, no Agassi, no Johnny Mac at the rap party. If you wanted like two people there only, probably those two. But if you think about it, there's probably like 20 broadcasters. There's like 100 people behind the scenes that were camera operators, stage directors. Everyone was so cool. I had a blast. I hope to do it again. But awesome, TNT couldn't have been cooler to work for.
Well done, Sam.
I thought you killed it.
Thank you.
I thought you did.
Appreciate that.
We all thought you did. I had a few moments with you on the desk live on TNT.
I think we had only one segment together on the desk, or did we do two?
Maybe it was just one. Yeah, we had food reviews.
You did one on the UK desk.
I did the UK desk with Hinman and
Hinman. Also, I said this is like my favorite person alive. I had so much fun with Hinman. Yeah. I could have hung out with him in the green room for a month. The dude is so funny.
He had good stories.
God, the best.
Yeah, and not many people, or I completely forgot, he almost made a final in the French Open.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, we won't go into that. All right, Roland Garros, let's wrap it up. I want to just talk a little bit more about this final on the men's side, just to make sure we weren't captive of the moment back then, right? Because we did the show right after the final. It's had a few days to digest it. I said it was a top 5 match of all time. I'm changing my tune. I think it's a top 3 match of all time. So I don't think we were over-exaggerating anything. Again, just real quick about this match. Is there anything that this match lacked in y'all's opinion? Jack? I just feel like we got to talk a little bit more about this ridiculous final before we move on to some grass court stuff.
I think like when I was watching it here, and I put in the group chat that like it honestly felt scripted, and I think when people say that about a sporting event, that means it's like it's almost like too unbelievable, like what's going on. The fact that you can get one guy in Yannick obviously being 2-love up and having match points in the third, and then it obviously like fully changing the match, and Alcaraz coming back and winning. Like it felt like a simulation. It felt scripted, and that's when it's almost, it's too ridiculous to even believe what you're watching. So that's just more credit to those guys. And I would absolutely say a top 3 match I've ever seen. I agree with you in that. So
yeah, just to kind of piggyback on that, when I said it was going to be one for the ages, obviously I wasn't, thinking it was going to be that good, obviously, but it just took me back to the first Slam final with Fed and Nadal. I believe it was 2008, Wemby. They had an epic, final in that one where Nadal, I believe, won that one in 5. So it just kind of took me back to that one where these guys have played a lot of matches. They were both undefeated in Slam finals going into this. So I just figured that they would put on a show because, neither one of these guys wants to give an inch to their, their friend, but also their competitor, somebody they are going to be chasing the record books with Slam titles and whatnot. So ultimately it lived way above the hype that I thought it was going to be, because that was an incredible match by both guys. But just thought because it was going to be their first Slam final against one another, I thought the level was just going to be, taken to another level.
I don't want to start ranking greatest matches of all time, but this is one of the top 3 of all time. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. Part of that I say that because the quality of every point, even when they were 5 hours and 15 minutes in, the quality of shot making was insane. Alcaraz, that breaker in the 5th was just like, it was like he was playing his best tennis 5 hours, 29 minutes in. So like for that case alone, that's why I'm saying I think it was one of the 3 best matches of all time.
Was that 5th set tiebreaker from Alcaraz like the best tennis level like ever achieved?
It's maybe. Honestly, that's not a crazy thing to say.
That when you take out center 10-2 and
it was like winners.
First 10, yeah, I know, with winners. It was just absurd. It was lucky for us, lucky for tennis fans, and the great part about it is you got to imagine these guys are going to square off in a bunch of Grand Slam finals in the future.
Yeah, but I do think that us and everyone needs to realize we're not going to get that match every time.
No.
I think people think that though, there's going to be some 3-setters. There's going to be some lopsided ones, and people got to not be overly disappointed when we get 7-5, 4-4 on the next one.
It's very possible they never play a match like that again. That could be the greatest Slam final we play again, that will be one too hard top in any form.
That probably will be. I think that will be the best one.
And that was also one shot away from being done in straights, and then this wouldn't even be a conversation right now.
No, not straight. Sinner had the match points in the 4th.
Yeah, but let's say he holds it 2-0 in the 3rd. You never know. He gets it running if he has game points, but still 4 sets is like a straightforward in a Slam final, you feel like.
Yeah, the confluence of events that happened that allowed that match to go 5 sets and get to the 5th set tiebreaker, won't ever see that again. Absurd. Again, congrats to Carlos. We are about to do a quick bracket update. We had about 1,400 entries. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit more about Coco Gauff. And specifically, did you guys see the size of her replica trophy? See the little
yeah, it's tiny.
TikTok she did? It's
Same with Carlos, though. They got the mini one as well.
Yeah. What do y'all think about that? Do you feel like Grand Slam champ should get
give him the big one. This is ridiculous.
Totally. I want the biggest trophy possible.
Looks like my son's soccer trophy.
Like a participation trophy.
The Wimbledon one is even smaller.
Yeah.
But why? It's crazy. Give him the big one.
Not that big one.
I'm just saying, give them a replica. Don't give them that one, right? If you're going to keep it there.
But the big one.
Give them a replica of the big one of they just, won, on the men's side, 21 straight, sets and battled for far too long to get a little miniature trophy.
Also, was Coco flying privately back home to the United States?
For sure. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that she wasn't boarding American Airlines with you, right?
Why
Sam?
wouldn't you?
Dude, highest paid female athlete last year.
No, I know. Credit to her. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Private across the Atlantic Ocean.
Absolutely.
Carlos probably has a stop, to get over to Queen's Club to get ready for next week's grass event.
You think he took the Eurostar? Rafa used to do that apparently. He'd win the French and then grind out a 8 p.m. Eurostar train to London and play in Queens 2 days later.
Or Mallorca to London he would fly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know. He would do it. There's video of him
yes, I know. It's
in
crazy.
The back.
He's in the back reading his newspaper just with his hat on.
All right, you guys want to get into some fan questions. These are RG themed. We're not leaving Roland Garros just yet. We asked this, I don't know, 8-10 days ago to get some fan questions, but because we kept something major pretty short and sweet, we weren't able to get into all of them. So let's do that. Do you guys see some of the questions in front of you?
We sure do.
Yeah.
All right.
From all over as well, I must say.
From all over, absolutely. Or how about this? Here's one from Timothy Linton. I'm imagining his name is Timothy. From Scranton, PA. Who was the one player that you can't believe never won a Roland Garros title? It goes, I was certain Dominic Thiem was going to win one, and really believe he would have been the number one clay court player. But injuries held him back. So it's one player that you guys surprised never won a Roland Garros title. Does anyone have an answer? Everyone seems like they're thinking. If anyone has an answer, please.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a weird answer, but I think it's Dominic Thiem. But I don't think he was ever going to win one in that era. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think he's an incredible clay court player, probably the second or third best over the course of his career. But the guys that he had to beat along the way, like, it just was never going to happen.
That's right. I'm not shocked that he didn't. It's not like I can't believe he didn't.
That's why you have to go back to pre-2004, before Rafa started. Yeah. I mean,
who are the pre-Rafa guys that didn't win one?
For me, I think it's Coria. I think did he have match points as well in the final? He lost to
Gaudio.
Yeah,
Gaudio.
Talk about the ultimate fall off.
I feel like Coria was so good on clay, he was never going to win the U.S. Open or really, or Wimby or anything. But you thought if he was going to win something, it was going to be. He's going to be Roland Garros, right? Andy Murray, guys, no.
No, again, he's in the Rafa era. There's no one. You can't be surprised that anyone didn't win one in the Rafa era.
Team beats Murray on clay, no? Right?
8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 for sure.
But Murray had it going on clay for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Sam, this one's specifically for you. From Scott in England. Did Sam mention or ask about the podcast to Novak? Any talk about Nothing Major with Novak, I guess?
No, he did come on the desk one time, which was awesome, but he's on the desk. I'm not about to bring up the pod in front of everyone.
Of course.
Why not?
But we want him on. I think we can get him on. John and I have talked about it. We were on the player council with him for a while. I do think that we can get Novak on this pod in the next 8 months. I feel like that's a decent goal that we could have.
I think by the end of the year.
Feasible?
Yeah, I think that's feasible.
Yeah, I think he would do it.
Find the right time, the right window.
Exactly. He's getting pulled everywhere. We need to, if he wants to do it at 1 a.m. our time, we need to do it at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Whenever he wants. But I feel like we all have a good enough relationship with him that if we ask, I think he would be excited to come on. And everyone knows, the guy gives the best answers of all time. But I think he knows about it. He's got to have seen the clips, right?
Oh, yeah. Everyone sees the clips on social.
Everyone, yeah.
All right, Jack, I got one for you and I, actually, from Jin in Australia. He goes, Jack and John both managed to take sets off of Rafa at the French Open. What were some of the tactics that worked for you guys against him? I think tactics, that's more of a question for you, Jack. For me, it wasn't tactic-based, just hold serve and try to win it. Exactly. So that's my answer. It was a hot day, and I played it that one year. They switched to the Babolat balls. They were really light.
Yeah.
I've liked those balls. But Jack, you played them on Longland, I remember. You didn't play them on Chartres, is that right?
10 years ago, yeah. Yep.
I remember watching that match. You were running around your backhand like an animal.
Yeah, obviously everyone knows if Rafa was hits a forehand in my backhand, I'm gonna shank every ball into the stands. So obviously I had to move as fast as I could left, and it was honestly just swing for the fences and be as aggressive as possible. I'm not gonna outlast him. I'm not gonna win points from the baseline majority of the time. So for me, it was just play as big as possible, try to dictate points when I can, come in when I can, obviously try to make a lot of first serves, kind of just close my eyes and swing as hard as I can, which was a tactic for me a lot. So was able to get one there. I remember I was down 2 sets to love, and I think I was even maybe down 5-2 in the third, and just not give up, but I kind of just started swinging so free that I was able to string off, 5 games in a row and win the third, and then got routined in the fourth. So,
I mean, in a sense, this sounds crazy, really crazy, but it's kind of easy playing against Rafa because there's zero pressure, right? So you can just swing for the ball, right? Like you're up against it with everything he does, like tactically and with his forehand and his backhand, but there's no pressure, right, Jack? So you feel like when you play him, especially at the French Open, no one expects you to win. So it's super fun. You just go out there and swing away.
I was gonna say maybe one of the more enjoyable matches I've played because I had zero. Yeah, I didn't even expect to win a set. I was like hoping to just win games and not get embarrassed. It was one of those matches where you're literally just swinging, having fun, and you like appreciate being out there playing in one of those types of matches.
All right, I agree. Sam, I got another one just for you, and I like this one. I'm just reading it. It's from Amy from Dallas. Loving the coverage of the French Open. This must have come in a few days ago. Sam, will you talk a little bit about the hours? Because you're at the desk in the morning and you're ending late at night. What does it look like in the time when we don't see your face on camera?
Everyone had a different role. Like some people, I was on desk and on desk analyst the whole time. Some people, Curry or McEnroe would do some desk segments, some go call matches. But me specifically, I would get there every day around 10 and then get ready and whatnot. From 11 to 12, I would do a pre-show with Adam Lefko, the host. We'd bring in Caroline Wozniacki, Sloane Stevens, whoever else was around. So pre-show 11 to 12. And then for the next 4 hours, it was on and off the desk. Like if a match ended on Chatrier, they would come to us on the desk for 5 minutes and we'd do a segment and then go back to Chatrier. And then constantly throughout those 4 or 5 hours, or 4 or 5 hours, probably 8 hours, actually till 8 p.m., guests would come to the desk as well. And we would film segments and tape them to show later. If Coco Gauff won, she would come. If Novak won, he would come. Alcaraz, he would come. And then we would do a post-show after that men's night match that usually ended around 11 or 12. So pre-show, post-show, and then all these bridge segments in between that were 5 to 20-minute hits. And then, when you had 30, 40 minutes off in between each one, you would go hang in the green room with all the other broadcasters, go get some lunch, stuff like that. You'd have to watch matches kind of all day because you needed to know what you were talking about, when they would come to you on the bridge segment. But that was kind of a typical day.
It's good analysis. And how was the food after the first week, Sam?
It was so they had media dining.
Media dining.
You were there. It's like
Yes.
player dining, but just not as good. They'd have
not quite
one
as
dish
good.
every
Exactly.
day. It got a little stale after day 5.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was just making ham and cheese baguettes in the green room all day. After you cut the bread and put the meat and the cheese and eat that.
Ben from Idaho Falls. Because do you guys, it's for all of us, have any memorable or funny moments from the Roland Garros locker room?
No, I just have one little quick Rafa story, I guess. We were, you guys all know how the locker room works. Our lockers are kind of facing each other. You're in these little pods or whatever. And I'm sitting there, we're all kind of getting ready to go out and play. Rafa's on Chatrier, I'm on court 74. And we're gripping our rackets, and he looks at me and goes, "Hey, Stevie," is "Is this bag mine?" And I'm yeah, Rafa, the Babolat bag is yours. The one that has French Open star on it, 04, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm and I was dude, I don't even use Babolat anymore. I'm gripping a Yonex racket right here. He goes, "Buddy, my bad. I'm just so focused." I'm well, doesn't matter who you're going to play today. It didn't matter anyway. But I was just laughing because I'm dude, this guy doesn't even know what bag is his. He just literally walks out there, just sees red and goes and kills his opponent. Doesn't matter what it is. I was just taken aback for a minute. I was does he really not know that's his bag with all the trophies and insignias on it?
You can get up close and personal in that locker room, as we know.
Did you have your Nottingham insignia on your bag?
I had my Nottingham 250 title on there. I did, yeah.
Yeah,
Houston with a little 2X by it.
I wish. This was pre-Houston. This might have been 2016 or something like that. And I was dude, what is wrong with this guy? I was that's not,
It's a compliment to you that he thought maybe you could be playing with the
I was
same
just
bag.
I was looking around me because I figured there was I was is he serious? Is he actually talking to me right now? Because this isn't I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me, but just classic Rafa, just in his element, nothing can get through him, and that's it.
All right. Sam, do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, are you going to the Baguette Story?
Yes.
This is the best thing ever. you want me to tell it or you want to tell it?
No, can I tee it up?
Tee it up, then I'll take over. This is so good.
Hey, Stevie and Jack, you guys know this story. So,
Yes. Baguette.
Okay, I'm a little hazy on the year. I think it was 2008 or 2009.
Yeah, one of those two.
Ish. I'm going to call it 2009. Sam and I were playing doubles at Roland Garros. And it was one of those where, like, we must have been like third or fourth on. And on court, whatever, doesn't matter. We're kind of watching the live scores, and the match in front of us, like, kept dragging on. Maybe they went to a fourth or a fifth set, and Sam and I were not really taking our warm-up too seriously because, you know, it's doubles, it's not singles. So we're both, like, a little bit hungry, but we don't want to eat a full meal, right? So we leave the locker room, we go to the cafe area where you have at Roland Garros, you can get, like, your coffees, your pastries, and these baguettes. We didn't get a pastry, don't worry about that. They have these, like, really thin ham and cheese baguettes, and you kind of just grab it, and there's just something to nibble on for a little sustenance before our doubles match because we got a little bit hungry. So we did that, and we took our baguettes back to the locker room, and I'm going to leave it right there for you, Sam.
Okay. So in the locker room has a bunch of, like, different cubicles in them, and then within the cubicle there's a bench that you can sit on if you need. You know, it's a little tight in there. And, you know, in the tennis locker room, the Americans, the Brits, the Australians, the South Africans, if you're going to the shower, you put a towel on and walk to the shower. All the other countries kind of like walk around naked, I guess you would say. and so Izzer and I are in like the little cubby, kind of the cubicle area of the locker. We're sitting on the bench, just chatting. I have a baguette, and I'm just, you know, I kind of have my arm up. I'm eating it. And you know how if someone's going to wiggle by you, they suck in their tummy and try to slide by? One of the European, I don't even remember who it is. Do you remember who this is?
No, dude, I'm pretty certain it was South American, but I don't know why I think that. But
so this, you know, John and I are talking there, and we're in the cubicle area where this guy's locker is. He's like, "Excuse me, guys, I got to get by." And he's naked. He kind of sucks it in, tries to wiggle by, and his wiener grazes my baguette. I have it in my as he's going by. And you remember, and do you remember, Izzer, you and I just looked at each other and just like, oh my God.
you look at me, and you look at it, and you throw it in the trash.
Did you take another bite?
No, I just threw it away. Threw it away in the trash can. Izzer was just so stunned. And there's like these little trash cans on the end of each little locker. Like, oh my God.
Sam's face was like, he looked at me and he goes, like
the same, like,
his wiener just hit my baguette.
It touched his baguette.
Goodness.
It nicked his baguette.
Oh my God. That was.
You guys had a sword fight with your baguette and his wiener.
Oh, dude, that was the
I'll
funniest
never
moment.
forget the look on your face, dude. Look at me and you look at your baguette, and you go, do it away so quick.
I had like one bite of it.
I know. It was the very beginning of your baguette.
It's one of the greatest locker room stories of all time.
I think they've redone the locker room since. I don't think those areas are that small now.
Really? No.
Are they the same? Oh, I thought they
They're
redid it.
still like.
They like redid the lockers, but not the locker room.
Yeah,
okay,
they're still
that's
got
what
the
it is.
little.
Yeah.
It's still dangerous down
Windows
there.
It's still
Yeah.
dangerous in there, but the seating area is where you should eat, not the locker room.
Yeah, so I shouldn't eat the baguette in that part of the locker room.
It was like late in the afternoon. There weren't like that many players around. I think that's why, maybe,
yeah.
like, or something. I don't know, dude, but.
I don't think I got an apology either.
But that was always an uncomfortable locker room to be in. They always had a guy with a camera in there.
No baguette is safe in there.
Yes, you're right, Stevie. They always have a camera guy in
They
there.
always have a guy with a camera in there. It makes no sense. Like it's.
Yeah, what is that about?
I don't know.
Always.
It's always.
Also, what was the player's reaction to this? He knew, like, he just like violated
I don't
your
think he
baguette.
knew.
Was there any?
No,
like,
I feel like he knew, but he didn't want to draw attention to it.
Yeah, so he just left.
cared about
he
it.
just played.
He felt the baguette.
He got a little crunch on there. He got a little. Okay,
You touched the baguette with your. He knew, dude.
Oh
He
my
knew.
God. For sure knew.
That story never gets old, by the way.
It'll like never be topped. It's the best French Open story
Can't,
ever.
that's the best Roland Garros story of all time. Move over Rafa's 14 titles. You can't touch the baguette story. Oh my God, dude. I don't even know where to go after that.
Yeah, there's got to be more questions.
Yeah. There's more. Okay, this is a good one. I think this is a good one. If anyone else has, if you got the questions in front of you, this is from Eisen93 and from Oregon. Love the pod. Hope you guys keep it going. Question for all of y'all. Have either of you, JoeyDonuts can be joining soon, so this is the last question before JoeyDonuts comes on. If either of you had one or multiple match points in a championship match, but still ended up losing, what was that feeling like, and how did you deal with it after? I definitely have. I would win a lot of matches saving match points and lose a lot of matches with match points.
But in a final, did you ever do it in a final?
Against you, dude. Oh no, I didn't have a match point.
I didn't think you had match points.
I served for it. Yeah. No, for sure in a final. Dallas, like a few years ago. Yep. Remember I played Yi Bing Wu? I don't know if you guys remember that?
Yeah. I remember that,
dude,
actually.
I had a volley on top of the net, like, literally to win the match. Like, anyways, but they're hard to recover from, man. Like, I've had... Definitely there in Dallas. I'm sure I had another time in a final where I had match points and couldn't convert because I was a terrible returner probably. But yeah, it's tough. But I think just in general, maybe it's not just a championship match, but like losing a match with match points is hard to swallow, and we can't imagine what Sinner's feeling like. About to win that match in 4 sets. Anyone have anything else to add there?
Wasn't enough finals to know or have that feeling. So.
But like just in general, like losing a match with match points.
Yeah, it's brutal.
How about that?
I mean, over the course of your career, though, you feel like it goes both ways, though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
probably evens out, right?
You think it evens out, but trust me, we only ever remember the ones that got away. Like, you don't remember the ones that you snuck out, or it's just the nature of the beast. You always remember the tricky ones.
Steve makes a good point. It's like you always think of it like that, but it's better to almost think of it the other way. It's like, how many times did you get match points and win it?
Yeah,
you never remember that. You
never remember those.
You have won that. It's weird how life works like that.
I mean, 20 years from now, you'll still remember that Dallas, but you won't remember another final that you saved a match point on and won.
I think I beat Burditch in like either like the first or second year of that Winston-Salem tournament.
Winston-Salem. I remember that.
I definitely saved that was good Burditch too. He was like,
that was good.
He won in some matches. He lost early in Cincy.
2011.
One of those years, yeah. So that was I think it was the year that the hurricane, right? Everyone was up in New York.
2011 then.
Yeah, everyone was up in New York, like not practicing, and I'm in my hometown of Winston-Salem, Greensboro. Is where I grew up, staying with my parents.
By the way, you beat Burt 11-9 in a third set tiebreaker.
Yeah, for sure. I remember saving that, and I think I saved maybe even a couple on return.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Just locked in.
I feel like I did, Stevie.
I feel like you would have had to almost.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, guys, before we move on from these questions, I got one last one. This will be quick from Time Khan from Pakistan. The question is, I came across Nothing Major for the first time on YouTube today, and I was keen to hear more about what people had to say about the amazing Sinner-Alcaraz final. On your last show, Query introduced the show as Something Major rather than Nothing Major, but in the title, the latest YouTube, it says Something Major. It's a little confusing for everybody, but I'll just answer that quick. Nothing Major is our regularly scheduled podcast throughout the year, Mondays and Fridays. And then we decided this year during the Australian Open we would do shows after each round, and we called them Something Major because they'd be a little quicker, a little bit more, really relevant on what is happening in each round of the Slam. So that we loved it so much during Australia, we decided to do it to French, and we will most likely do it again during Wimby and the U.S. Open. So those 4 tournaments and 8 weeks throughout the year, we'll have Something Major every couple of days for you guys breaking down those tournaments. So thanks for the question.
Sam mentioned it the other day on our bracket update, JoeyDonuts. And we were kind of all taking guesses on like what type of person JoeyDonuts is going to be. First of all, he is going to come on the pod. It's a 16-year-old kid. All right, here we go.
Joey D. Yeah.
Joey D.
JoeyDonuts
is on the pod.
I thought for sure you'd have a donut in your hand when you came on.
Yeah, I know. First of all, thanks for participating.
Yeah.
And
big congratulations. I mean,
congratulations.
1,500 people.
We hope you subscribe and gave us 5 stars. Yeah,
give us a little intro. Can you guys give us your names, age? Where are you guys from?
I'm Joseph. I'm 16, and we're from Cary, North Carolina.
Oh, heck yeah.
Isner, your neighbor.
Yeah, love that.
My name is Jeremiah. I just graduated from college a couple weeks ago from Elon University, and I'm interning over the summer.
Burlington.
Elon, yeah, Burlington.
Yeah, exactly.
Is your last name Donut?
No.
You like donuts, or what's up with the Joey Donut? That's a great name, by the way.
It's just a nickname I got from my friends.
All right,
That's good. Okay, so we didn't examine your bracket like that thoroughly. Obviously, you had the final. You picked Alcaraz. What were some of the other matches? Maybe what are some upsets that you picked correctly early on or midway through the tournament, if you can remember?
I did have Musetti going to the semis.
Strong.
I had Fonseca going fourth round. It didn't really work out.
You made
But
third round.
you got him third round.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I had Casper losing in the second round, I think.
That's big.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
big.
Yeah.
What about the Popper one?
I did have Poppert in the fourth round.
Okay.
That's-
Not many people would have that.
Did you have Francis? How far did you have Francis going?
I had Francis going to the quarters.
Oh,
That's
dude.
a good call
Wow.
because Francis
Jeez.
wasn't exactly lighting it up on the clay before the French Open.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's...
Well, I need to go to like the Casper second round out. What made you like do that, or is that just like a bold call out of nowhere? Because
I didn't have faith in him.
Oh, brutal.
Oh, it's-
Hey, Casper watches this, man. He's going to...
yeah,
Casper's gonna know.
I don't think many people would have
you
Casper
good.
losing second
just
round.
joking.
I just had to ask.
You had Tommy Paul to the quarters, too?
I had Tommy Paul to the quarters.
Did you have Draper?
I had Draper going to the fourth round. I had him losing to Fonseca.
Oh, who did you have coming out of that section? Like, Bublik came out of that section. Who did you have? Who was the one that you missed in the quarters?
I had Diminar coming out.
All right, that's not crazy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You play junior tennis?
Yeah.
Do you use Yonex based on your hat?
Yeah.
Kind of represent.
Yeah.
What high school do you go to?
I do online school.
Good for you. Good stuff. All right, well...
You got any questions? You get to ask any
You got any
question you
questions
want.
for us? Yeah, dude. Come on. Anything?
I had a question. How many Grand Slams do you think Fonseca is gonna win?
That's a good one.
Ooh.
Really good one. Wow. That's actually...
He's 18. I'm gonna say 4.
Oh,
I had him at 5.
I mean, he's got to deal with Sinner and Alcaraz for like
That's what
80%
I-
of his
Yeah.
career, probably. So it's tough.
I think he just hits the ball huge. He's gonna get hot some of these times and just hit through guys.
I like your answer, Stevie. I like 5.
I'm gonna say 0, 1, or 2. I think he's not. I don't,
But I think he sprinkles in. I think he sprinkles in a lot more like first week losses than those guys because he will hit himself out of matches. But ultimately, he'll get in the end, and then he'll hit through these guys when he just gets hot.
Wait, how many do you think he's going to win? You're obviously a big Fonseca guy because you had him going deep.
yeah. I have him at like 7 or 8.
Ooh.
All right.
All right.
I hope
got it
he
covered
gets
here.
that many.
Bring up-
I hope he gets that many.
The question I bring up though is, do you think he can do that for 2 weeks, 5 setters, consistently?
Yeah. Maybe not right now. He's only 18. Give him like
Yeah.
one more year. 100% I think he can.
He's 2 years older than you, dude. Think about that. That's nuts. Yeah, I'm with Sam. Yeah, he's gonna like dial it in, get more consistent. Get a lot more experience on these stages. So yeah, I think he can keep that. I think he can keep that level up. He won't have to keep that level up for a lot of his matches in a Grand Slam. I think as he gets deeper, right? Maybe he'll be good enough. He doesn't have to play his best early on, in my mind. But as he gets deeper and more experienced, he should be able to do a lot of damage. I hope he doesn't listen to the pod because we pump him up a lot.
And we're
Especially
usually wrong.
Sam. And I know, and feel like we put the hex on him all,
I'm trying to
all
like
the time.
chill on him a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I only said like 4. I mean,
I just think that road that he has to go through at some point is going to
Absolutely.
be.
No, you're
yeah,
right, Jack.
Like,
yeah,
Sure.
A good question though. Have fun,
Great
guys.
shirt.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you guys
on.
so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, take
Thank
it
you.
easy.
Appreciate it.
congratulations as well.
Thank you.
All right. We're finally going to do it. We're going to transition to the grass court season. I really don't want to do it. I feel like we could do like 4 more pods on those 2 finals. But we're not. We're going to go to the grass court season. What was y'all's typical approach from transitioning from clay to grass? I want to start with you, Sam, because you were the most accomplished grass court player of all of us. Stevie, you were very good. I feel like Newport doesn't really count, like European grass. I would say you are the most accomplished grass court player. So Sam, how would you take the approach from finishing up at Roland Garros to transitioning to the grass court season?
Well, early on, and John knows this too, because we pretty much played the exact same time. I bet the first 10 years of our career, the time in between Roland Garros and Wimbledon was only 2 weeks. So now it's 3 weeks. So a lot of times after Roland Garros, I would go home. I would, lose in the first week. I would go home for a week back to LA. And I would maybe hit on a grass court one time. Grass courts are hard to find, like depending upon where you live. Most people don't have grass courts. Like we had 1 or 2 in LA, but they weren't necessarily good enough to practice on. So I might hit on them one time, but I would just practice on a hard court, but practice as if you were playing grass court tennis, like hug the baseline more, staying lower, occasional serve and volley, stuff like that. And then most of the time I would play queens, get to queens 2-3 days early, hit on the grass and get going. But grass is one of those, because like people don't have access to grass courts outside of these tournaments, you don't practice on it. It's not like you do, let me spend like 5-6 days in a row on the grass prepping. You kind of, which is also good because everyone's kind of in the same boat. I feel like everyone's for the most part hit on grass for like 3 days and then you go play a tournament. So that's kind of what I did. I usually played queens, maybe one other tournament before Wimbledon, maybe not. And then the second half of our careers, it was 3 weeks. So I usually played 2 events, but that was kind of what I usually did.
Yeah, I would do the same. Like I actually liked playing on the grass. I mean, a lot more. So I would try and maximize my time in those tournaments. And it just depended. If I did well at the French, if I made third round a few of those years, I probably wouldn't play that first week on grass. But if I lost early first or second round, I'd come back to LA, really wouldn't hit on grass. If not, Sam and I hit a couple times at like Sherwood. We have like this, there's a club that has a couple grass courts we'd go hit on, but it's really only for getting the movement down, because the grass courts now compared to 20 or 30 years ago are so incredibly good that the bounces are the same. It's not like it's that much of a crapshoot anymore out there. I mean, the courts are so good, the grass is so good. It's just trying to get that movement down, which is really a lot different than the clay. So that's the hardest thing that I felt you needed to transition to quickly, was getting your footwork down, because you're really not sliding into the balls. You're not, your strategy or your game plan is just going to be a little bit different because, the points are going to be shorter. It's more first strike tennis. So that's kind of all the things that I would focus on.
Maybe a hot take from me. I think the transition from surface to surface is so overrated in our sport. Like I don't, whether it's clay, whether it's grass, I didn't really take you go to the surface. We've all played on it before. It's not like that big of a deal. I think people like really over exaggerate getting used to it. So I was pretty much just get over to Europe and just play that first tournament. Didn't really care too much how much I played on it back home. Again, access to grass courts wasn't that great in the States, but I also had a weird relationship with the grass. But early on in my career, my results were terrible. I didn't enjoy it that much. Then I loved it later on. The one year I came over to play queens, you and I were practicing, John. The last point of our practice before our hour was up, I sprained my MCL and literally couldn't walk for 4 days. And so it was always a weird. But then I had obviously had some fun in doubles and some nice results. But I think the whole transition from surface to surface for tennis players is really blown out of proportion sometimes. So,
John, you went no warm-ups half the time for Wimbledon.
Yeah, I couldn't stand those grass court warm-up events. I couldn't stand them. I couldn't stand the courts. The Wimby courts are a lot different than everything else in my mind. I think the Wimby courts are, in my mind, are very different to the Queen's Club courts. Would y'all agree?
Yeah, I think they were more slippery at Queen's Club for sure.
Way more slippery, yeah. So I played queens a few times. I couldn't move on the courts. They wouldn't let you practice on the match courts at all before the first ball was hit on Monday.
Changed this year.
Okay, they're changed that.
There's a women's tournament at the Queen's Club, first time ever this week. Okay. So they'll have a week's worth of play on them before the men get there.
That's great. Yeah. That's
that
good
would
for
have
the
helped
men.
you big time.
Yeah, I didn't mind playing on grass. I played Sir Toggenbosch once and was like, ugh.
The grass court tournaments aren't great. The cities, they just aren't.
Outside of Queens, which is awesome, the other ones are a little tough.
Yeah. Queens is great because you're staying at your a lot of players, we would stay at Wimbledon, in SW19 and get picked up and go to Queen's Club. But no, I don't know. I used it as after the French as a little, I don't know. I liked being home, and I actually liked training in the heat. And just, I don't know, I would feel good going into Wimby. You try to get there. I mean, the one year I made semis, I didn't play a warm-up. So for me, I don't know, matches, that's not really that important. It's just if I'm kind of get lucky and bot well, I can do well on any surface. So, but yeah, I don't know. Everyone's different. Sam, how are you, as bad as you were, because you're moving on clay? Why are you so?
I love how you started that question.
You were an unbelievable grass court mover. You moved I would watch you move on because you're a tall guy, and I was so jealous of how you can move on grass.
I think I just went into it with a better mentality.
What are you looking at, Stevie?
Because he couldn't move on clay, he couldn't slide, so he'd be great on grass. So he didn't slide for the last 10 weeks. So then he gets on the grass and he's perfect.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair.
I was in a better mood on the grass, so like I would just try harder, honestly, to like do things the right way, and just I don't know, I knew how to play on it. I guess like the natural like stopping, starting, like anticipating, going for balls when you're on the run because you couldn't stop and like get back into the court, stuff like that. It just the movement clicked for me internally, unlike the clay.
Did y'all do anything like specific in the gym, Jack, to like, or Stevie, to like get ready for the grass? Like you feel like it's different. There's like a different type of sore when you first play on grass.
Yeah, for sure. I think like the low back and the hips for sure. Like on the grass with those little stutter steps and moving around. I probably didn't. I maybe just emphasize some low back stuff or like either strengthening or just like make sure you're like super loosened up. But nothing like crazy different. Trying to now.
I mean, you do have to work on getting lower, and like Sam said earlier, like hugging the baseline. It feels weird doing that on a hard court as you're preparing to fly across the pond and practice on grass. But there are little things, little nuances you need to work on, even on the hard court, right? And that's like returning on top of the baseline or whatever, just attacking, serve and volleying if you want to do. Like I would try to serve and volley a lot. Of course, that made sense for my game. Sam, you didn't serve and volley that much on grass, as good as you were on grass. So
probably a lot of transition stuff, honestly. Yeah, obviously you're coming in a lot more and just working on that movement coming
Jack,
forward. Like
as good as you were at the net, Jack, but you had some good results at Wimby. Like didn't you lose to Raonic in the round of 16 or something like that? Like
Yeah. I had some good results. It was so up and down. I feel like it was either a good Wimby or just like a disaster. So it was kind of like I said, it's kind of a weird relationship with the tournament. I don't know, but I thoroughly enjoyed grass tennis later on in my career. Obviously, like I'm very comfortable with the net. I loved that style of tennis. But at the beginning of my career, I loved clay and I loved slower tennis. So like I didn't enjoy the grass until honestly towards the end, probably in my career.
Jack and I were having dialogue. Sam and Stevie are like in the chat. What the hell are you guys talking about in the chat right now? Can we get in Stevie?
This was. I think it's a safe space now that it's all out in the open. I think Sam has come clean to his wife. I was staying at Sam's house. I don't know what year that was, Sam. 2022. And Sam must have been in the semis of like Hertogenbosch or something, and I had lost already. And then, so I flew back to London because we're both playing Queens the next week, and my house was going to be ready in like 2 days. So I'm staying at Sam's house with Abby and his boys. So we're just there, and I'm basically going to Queens every day to practice. And I look on my phone, it's like, whatever, I'm on the way to the courts, and it just pops up. It's like, hey, Sam and Abby's anniversary. And I had left the house already, so I text Sam, and I'm like, hey, dude, like, do you want me to get anything for Abby today, kind of thing, just because it's your whatever. And he goes, wait, it's my anniversary? It's like, I didn't know that. Like, oh, my God. He's like freaking out over text. He goes, let me figure this out. And then I was like, you got to like 4 or 5 o'clock till like I'm on the train back to the house. I'll just stop and get flowers at the shop and like bring them to the house for you, right? And eventually he's like, okay, great idea kind of thing. So I bring him back and I get back to the house and I'm like, hey, Abby, like Sam wanted me to get these for you. He ordered flowers, right? And they couldn't get here in time. And she looks at me, she goes, I was hoping he'd forget so I can be mad at him because I knew he didn't remember it was his anniversary. I'm like, no. Like Sam texted me first thing this morning. He sent me the tracking, all this stuff for the flowers. And she's like, no, he didn't. I'm like, I'm telling you he did all this stuff. And then, so it's just like funny because I was at the house and I was like, Sam, like, dude, you can't forget your anniversary ever again.
Stevie, that was like the best friend move ever. It's so funny bringing it up. I came clean to her last night. Because our anniversary was like 2 days
the
ago.
9th, right?
Yeah, our anniversary was a couple days ago. And I was like, just so you know, that one time that Stevie, she's like, I knew you didn't know it. I knew it. I think she's mad now. Like 3 years later, like retroactively, like I came clean though. But that
I don't
was
know why
such
it was in my calendar on my phone. It just like popped up, and I was like, hey, buddy, like just let you know it's your anniversary. Just in case you forgot. You're not here. I could get you something.
Such a good friend move. I was like, Abby, of course I remembered. I had Stevie grab him. Like,
I stopped at like the local Tesco on the way home from Queens Club.
No, came through clutch.
All right, that's it for us today on Nothing Major. As always, head to our website, nothingmajorshow.com, if you want to submit a fan question or give your feedback. It's also the place to go if you have a media request or a partnership inquiry. And this is where you can access our flying off the shelves merch shop, which will direct you to Tennis Warehouse to get the merch. That's it, and we will see you next time.